Hello and welcome to this episode of Raxio Hour, where we bring you up to speed with a news roundup of all that's happening at Uganda's first Tier 3 and truly carrier-neutral data center facility. As Raxio data center construction nears completion, we now take a look at another spectacular time-lapse video, this time from the facility's interior, capturing construction inside the data hall that will have capacity to house around 400 racks of full capacity upon completion. Check it out. Also this week, we talked to tech writer, enthusiast and web developer Mr. Boses Muhinda about Uganda's internet. Moses is also the Chief Technology Officer at Hive Digital Limited, which operates Campus B and Guru 8 online publications in Uganda. He tells us about content delivery networks, current tech trends and much more. Take a look.
Hello, my name is Boses Muhinda. I'm the CTO at Campus B and Guru 8. I'm a web developer, tech writer and a DevOps. Growing up, I was really fascinated by things that were different, and technology is the kind of space that gives you the ability to witness these things, try out new things, ask yourself, why is the mouse or keyboard making the arrows on the ping pong table change and things like that, and why does the snake go left, not right on the 3210? So those are a few things that really inspired me to join technology to be able to create better things. I'll begin with Uganda. Well, Uganda, the internet penetration is growing. We're also learning that internet is no longer a luxury, it's actually a need, and that's a good thing to know, because we are starting to learn that we need more internet usage, we need to adapt to internet and technological-based systems. However, much as we are growing, we still have so many bottlenecks and problems with our internet, starting with speed, cost, and a bunch of other things, and connectivity, network. But I want to believe these are things that are going to change. The ecosystem is adapting not to just have internet-based solutions, but to have internet-supported businesses where, for example, instead of just creating an app, we have this app that works together with real-life situations. It's no longer just about the app, it's maybe what can the app bring to the border guy on the street? What does this app bring to the restaurant? So yes, we are beginning to embrace the internet more and more. Okay, having a Tier 3 data center is going to help the internet grow, and people appreciate that we can actually do more stuff with the internet. Having a local data center will make our internet faster if the people are hosting their applications in this particular data center. We're also going to have some lower costs, especially for the top tier companies that have been operating their own data center. So basically they're going to cut their costs if they have security taken care of, if they have power taken care of. And when you cut your costs, because some businesses have sensitive data like banks, governments and all this, they can't store the data out of Uganda. So having a Tier 3 data center saves them a lot in terms of cost. But when it comes to the last mile user, the last mile user is unfortunately going to be the last person to benefit. I want to believe it's going to take a while for this to happen, because the developers and the content creators and the people storing their data will need to store their data in this Tier 3 data center. So for example, if I have my phone and I'm using, let's say, a video streaming app, and it's picking the video from a data center in the USA, it's going to take more time for that video to load vis-a-vis when it's in Namamve, and chances are I'm on the same network as the cabling that's going to that data center. Two, we have things like faster speeds and less bottlenecks. For example, we're not affected by international fiber cuts in terms of speed if the application is storing its data in this particular data center. And then in the future, I hope we get providers of content delivery networks in these data centers. So for example, small elements of applications and websites, things like logos, things like frequently used elements on the web can be stored in the Ugandan Tier 3 data center, and the rest of the data can be stored elsewhere. So this makes it really fast in terms of access to the last mile user. So and the other thing with having a Tier 3 data center is with ISPs. So think about this. The telecoms we have in the country have to pay a fee to transfer data from all these other countries where websites are hosted. For example, over 70% of websites in Uganda are hosted outside the country. So all this data is costing the internet provider. So if the internet provider is paying a lot for this data, it's also going to trickle down to the last mile user, vis-a-vis when the data is stored locally and it's going through the local fibers that we have. So having Raxio as a Tier 3 data center is very significant for our country because it's like a stepping stone to promotion of local content. And when I say local content, I mean locally hosted content in our country. Most of our content is stored elsewhere. So God forbid if we had an embargo, we would have challenges because most of the content we are consuming in the country is not available, and our internet providers are spending so much on international bandwidth. And if we have one very, very large data center, it means we are attracting more companies, more businesses to have more data centers, or probably Raxio will have another data center in the future. But being the first Tier 3 neutral data center is so big to us because it's like the first milestone to having independent and locally hosted content, which is important for us as a country. Local content will grow because, for example, if your data is stored in Namamve, it's easy for you as a local creator to come up and bargain with the telecom, because this is going to be a carrier neutral data center. So you can bargain and have your application, for example, 0 rated. For example, let's say you're doing an application that does medical or charity. You can have, it becomes cheaper for the telecom to allow users access your data for free, because the telecom knows they are getting it from a local source and it's not costing them in terms of international bandwidth. The other thing is local content creators are yet to benefit in the future, depending on who Raxio is willing to attract to have their data centers, their data service provided within their data center. For example, if we have the international players have some of their servers, when you're paying for hosting and then you have the option to select Uganda, depending on the provider, I think that makes it easier for your content to be accessed faster and then probably more secure, and then it's easier for you to solve problems. I'm glad that we are creating more local content as a country. One of the trends is that most of this content is being digitalized. We have most of it on video streaming services. And also we have now local services that are actually streaming this data from their own servers, not depending on the YouTubes and the Vimeos and the likes. So it's going to be a trend whereby local creators have more control of their data because the data is stored on their particular websites and platforms or applications. A CDN is a content delivery network. Well, I'm not going to give the book definition of CDN, but think of this. You have your server, and then the server has files and you have a database. But depending on where your application is accessed, you need some of this data to be stored closer to the source. So let's say you have a server in Italy, you have users in the United States, and you have users in Kenya, and you have users in Uganda. So you have 4 traffic points. So traditionally, all these traffic points will hit your one server. That means there's a bottleneck in there. But with the CDN, you're able to store some files in Kenya, USA, UK, and Uganda. So with a data center like Raxio, we are able to have a provider create a content delivery network for Uganda. So when you're trying to access that movie, that photo, that article, you're not picking it all the way from the United States. There's a bit of that article that is stored in Uganda, and then it makes it really faster for the user. So basically, CDNs make the users access data and information faster. CDN technology helps a business, one, have their information accessed faster. It helps them have a better user experience. And when you have a better user experience and speed, you have higher chances of user retention. So if your users discover that when they're streaming a video of your website or of your newspaper, it comes much faster. You have chances of having higher traffic, and then you have also higher chances of customization of your application, and basically it helps your information get accessed faster. For example, if your ATMs are loading the data much slower, users are going to get frustrated and you'll find longer lines when it comes to accessing data.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our social media platforms for more exciting updates. That's at Raxio UG on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and LinkedIn. Until next time, stay safe.